Hello everyone. Now this episode we're going to come to the back of the car and start putting on the back box because the old one was absolutely shot. Now there is one thing that kind of annoys me, but it's nothing I can really control at the moment. These early Fiestas, they have a straight pipe on the back box. There is obviously a silencer, but the pipe goes straight out the back. Now, most Fiestas you will see will have one of these back boxes with a downturned exit. Very common for diesels of the 80s and 90s, but Fiesta Mark III's got them, and most will have one. But the early ones between 1989 and I think 1990 of an FLG plate have a straight pipe from the factory. Unfortunately, you can't get them no more. I've looked under the parts number, the correct parts number, absolutely nothing. So I actually bought this one off the internet. This is, I believe, a Euroflow. It's what you get, what you pay for with Euroflow. But the truth is, it should last quite a long time. I can imagine, probably not as last as the original, definitely not. But I've had Euroflow exhaust before. Euroflow Clarios generically tend to be similar quality. If you want something more expensive, Bosal, I believe, made the original factory exhaust for Ford, including the straight pipe exit. But this car is going to have a subtle modification, of which, unfortunately, I cannot control. If I could get an original back box, I would get one. You can't get one. Most F-Reg Fiestas and G-Reg Fiestas that I've seen have this style of back box. So I'm going to fit it, but we're going to get some exhaust paste and slide it on, clamp it on properly. I have got the original clamp. It cleaned up quite well, and it's actually not seized, and these nuts are very free. So I'm going to reuse that. And we have two of these. These are the rear exhaust mount and the middle box exhaust mount. The rear one was in bad condition. The middle one is even worse, and I'm going to take that off in a second. I've only kept it on to hold the exhaust up. Obviously, I've been painting the exhaust. Ideally, I could have dropped the exhaust to paint it, but it'd been more of a faff, so I kept it up. But these were £10 a piece. Not cheap, but not expensive. That is the parts number there. So 15708. If you have a Mark III Fiesta and you need some rear exhaust rubbers. Apart from that, there's no actual other exhaust rubbers. There's no exhaust rubber right down where the downpipe is, where it goes underneath the car. There's nothing. There's literally two rubbers on the entire system, particularly on the early ones. Madness. Anyway, let's try and take the original exhaust mount off with some persuasion. I'm going to put a video at the end of this little video to explain why the car is starting to look extremely crisp and good in the paintwork. I have been going round the car clay barring, no polish, just a clay bar. I've done the whole car, the bonnet, the roof, everything, and I'll tell you what, I am really impressed. That is now super smooth, really, honestly. I'm just going to polish. I don't know what these marks are, whether it's paint, but I'll try and polish them out. But I can see what has to be done. It does expose some stone chips. I'm going to touch these up. I'm not going to respray beyond the arch lip. I'm just going to do inside the arch lip because my paintwork might be a bit obvious, but it's certainly not going to be as dreadful as what's gone on here. It's dreadful. That's utterly awful. Can you see that in that sun? Look at that. Oh my God. Rubbish. So this is going to be really well polished. We have got some paint fade going on here, but it could be petrol spillage, I don't know. But there's no sign of corrosion or rot in that filler area. It's just absolutely fantastic. But anyway, I've had to release the car cover forwards because I need to get down here and have a look at this mount. It's here, and that is cracked. It's actually gone in the middle piece there. So yeah, we're going to need a few things, right? Namely, silicone lubricant. Douse it, because it's the only way you're going to get this exhaust off that. And then the other tool I have is a screwdriver. We break the bond between the mount and the screwdriver. We just have to stab it in. Look at the paint. The paint has gone on nicely. I will probably respray it even more so in a bit. But once I've got this off, now we've got this lip here at the. So you see this lip. It's got to get past and over this point. So you are going to do a lot of this. Excuse me for moving the camera around, but that's the amount of force that is going to have to be required. Obviously, this is the bottom piece. This is not connected. It's this middle piece that you need to try and hook out. So just break the bond with a screwdriver. Right, that's refusing to budge, but that's okay, because quite frankly, that's one option. The other option is just to take it off the body. So I'm just going to get in and just force it off. You will have to stab it in, and you're going to have to twist a lot, but it will come off. I've just put some silicone in there, and it will be persuaded. I will get you off. Oh, I've got it in. Yeah, that's gone right in. I've just pushed it this way. Should be able to wiggle that. Oh, come on. I can feel that. That's almost gone. Come on. Excuse me. Just get my hand here. This is what's such a pain, this is. Just get some more spray in there. Just make it, there we go, it's gone, there we go. Just a little bit of slippery, and that's what helps it off. Just all my scrapings. God, that's a good bracket that is. Now we've got the exhaust. It's still supported very, very nicely up there. It's literally, there's no support on this exhaust. There's not even a flexi. I mean, this was the days before you have flexis. It doesn't even have a flexi pipe in this system, which is why I like this car. But I'm just going to try and hook this piece out. I mean, the reason this is gone is because look at that. That is the centerpiece there. You see that? It's just almost split. Just a case of trying to shuffle this off. There we go. It's just gone. There we go. Done. Look at that. I haven't done that damage. I ain't done that damage. Put a bit of pressure on it, but look at that. That's where you change your rubbers, guys. Just rather amateurish way in the wind. Oh yes. High temperature silver. Oh yeah. That feels so rubbery, it's untrue. That's yeah, tired. But just check. Yeah, pretty much. Even though this one is slightly bigger, but I suspect it's stretched. That's why. Whereas this may not have stretched. But it's a quick one. Let's get it on. You just got to kind of keep twisting it until it's gone on. Yeah, that's gone on, and now we can just try and hook this back on over there. But this is going to be a pain. You got to hold the exhaust up and try and ease this on. You may need to use a screwdriver. If it's not slippy enough, put some more silicone spray in. Done. I had to spray some silicone on the back side just to slide it across, and now that is sitting absolutely perfectly. It's gone on the bump, the sort of stopper at the end. You've got a stopper for the bottom bit attached to the exhaust, and then stopper there. And I haven't touched any paint. I've just sprayed that up a bit more. I've just gone over a little bit while the exhaust was a bit lower, but my god, it looks so nice under here. It's untrue. Yeah, that's great. And I like to say a new exhaust rubber, it looks cared for. And I don't know how long these will last, but Febi have not given me any problems in terms of rubber products so far, after several years, believe you me. Right, back box. Right, we've got the new back box with downturned incorrect exhaust for an F-Reg, but never mind. It will just be like any other Mark III Fiesta. It's quite a nice exit there. As I say, it's not something fitted to many petrols. It's usually diesels that get that sort of downturned exhaust of shame. The exhaust of shame, because we don't want to see exhaust going into your mouth. We just want it to go on the floor instead. Oh well. But that is the parts number, and I bought this for £27, which is why, quite frankly, because of the price alone, yeah, why wouldn't you? Am I going to spray this up? Well, probably not actually, because it doesn't really need spraying up, but I might consider at some point whether I scratch a bit of paint or whatever, but it'll be well protected. I've given it a bit of a wet sand. Now, when exhausts come to you fresh out the box, they can be a bit dirty and tarnished. I mean, especially around the welds where that's the first bit that starts rusting. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you a piece of advice. Just give it a wet sand with some 1500 grit and water. That's what I've done, and it's come up an absolute treat. It'll look in better once I've given it a metal polish. But anyway, no rattling baffles. Let's get this other one. I'll just stuff the packet. Lovely. My advice is to always try and fit these mounts before you fit it. Again, might have to set you up on the tripod, but let's give it a go, shall we? So, penetrating fluid. And we want this as slippy as possible. This may go on first time. Unfortunately, I can't show the exhaust mount because I threw it in the bin. Easy as you like. Just, here we go. Oh, you do get a bit of the offcuts of rubber coming out. There we go, done. That's nicely in place now. Lovely. As long as it doesn't come off, and it won't come off because you've got this tongue to keep it on. Right, well, this is where it starts to get messy. Exhaust assembly paste, I've had this on the shelf for quite a while. I do rate this stuff. It doesn't actually go off, this stuff. There's a few exhaust pastes that I wouldn't recommend, but this is the one I go for because it just doesn't go off in this tube. And exhaust paste generically are one of those things you use for a job, and then the next time you come to use it, probably in an emergency, most likely you'll find you can't really use it really. So yeah, well, just beforehand actually, I will just one thing, just spray a bit of silicone on Monsieur, yeah, and half the bodywork as well. I haven't painted down here, guys, because quite frankly, I don't think it needs it. It needs a Dynax. I want to retain the original factory primer. Yes, there might be some rust spots here and there, but actually, I don't want to go overboard with this. Some people would say I've already gone overboard, and I probably agree with you. The exhaust paste, you can either put it on the inside of this pipe or put it, tons of it, on the outside of that, whichever way you want to play this out, because obviously this will get crushed with this clamp, which is the correct size. So you want to get your clamp ready and in position. So let's just wind this back a bit, and God almighty, that is quite a big size. So wind it all the way back as far as you can. There we go. It's quite a tight clamp, but just put it on. Okay, so that's ready to be flung over. Excuse me. And let's put the exhaust paste on. So what we want is just, we need to be generous here, guys. Really honestly, because we don't want exhaust leaks later on and to come back to this. So you have to do this as properly as possible. I'm just opening this up with my knee, if you don't know what I'm doing. So there's no real way of doing this. I'm going to get my hands messy. So just squidgy, and you've got to do the whole circuit. What you want when you put the pipe on is all this to come squidging out. That's what you want, because if it doesn't come squidging out, you haven't put enough on. Just make sure you have put enough on one side. Yep, definitely. Yeah, that's exactly what you want. There you go, quite a generous coating, and this stuff really does work very well. But I'd recommend putting the cap back on as soon as possible for that. But now we can just slide this back box over. So the one-handed mechanic is doing his thing again. So go, yeah, go. That's it. Good, lovely. That's on now. Okay, now you can just hook this up. Okay, that was pretty damn easy to get that back one. And see, preparation, guys. Right, now if I just bring you to the back side, I've just had to bring it back slightly and just restructure this, because the bridge, I say the bridge, the bit where the old pipe flares out is here, so it doesn't quite extend as much as the old one, but that's okay, because you just want to make sure that they're nicely butted up. Now, where air tends to commonly leak is just here. Okay, so we just want to make sure that any excess is placed in there. Okay, you may want to put some exhaust paste on at this stage, just around the gap. There will be enough in there though, there generically is. So my technique has always worked for me. Sometimes it can be hit and miss with these sort of joins. I prefer flanges, I really do. MG Rover. Ford have always gone for clamps since I can remember. But now I need to get this clamp in position. But first, wipe my hands before I touch anything else, because you can spread exhaust paste everywhere. So just release that a little bit. Oh, come on. Thank God this doesn't want to go on. Right. I've had to take it off and do it again because I wasn't happy with how it was sitting. I've now put it back on, and I've put some extra splodge of exhaust paste, which is why it's all come out again. I will say exhaust paste dries quickly, guys, so when you put the pipe on you must clamp it up pretty quickly, and because I was talking to you guys explaining how to do it, I think it went off a bit too quickly. That wouldn't have been a very good seal. Now I'm doing it properly. I've literally just put it on. That's quite tight. We need to do this as tight as you can swear, I think. Right, that is squeaky bum tight now. That is a good solid clamp, and we've got a lot of excess, which I'm just going to try and spread as much as I can, really, just along the seam. I don't want it to be a corrugated mess, so some of it will just come off, and bleh. God, you need some rags, guys. You really need some rags for this job, and when it goes off it doesn't leave a very nice stain, so I'll just clear some of this excess off. Right, I've given it a bit of a spray up there, just on the join in there, just cleaned it up, sprayed it up so it looks a bit more joined up with the back of the box, and I'm really pleased with that. We managed to get it in position. It's sitting really nicely. Perfect. It's starting to look like a car now. Right, I'll put this in the bin of shame. Shame. Yes, this car is starting to look like a car with a nice shiny tailpipe, of which I will try and keep it that way as much as possible. Now, the next thing that I've got is these two hoses. Oh yes, we've got some fuel hoses to put on the car. So I'm going to grab some clamps, and we're going to go underneath the car with my screwdriver and try and put these on as best as possible. Now, I'm trying to give you as best a view as possible of what I'm doing. we're just going to come here. So we've got the two lines here, guys, that are just hanging around. We've got the two lines over there. Obviously the bigger line is to the carb, and we've got the return at the bottom. So don't get your lines confused. I have pre-cut these. I did some measuring, and which one is which. Yeah, well, obviously the bigger one is at the top, so just give it a slide over. I have got the clamps. I'm just gonna, oh dear me, this might take a bit of jiggling. There we go. Pop, 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 pop. There we go. It's gone on rather nicely, that has. Very, very good. And this one as well. So just, oh, well, that's gone on rather nicely as well. So they're quite, yeah, nice. So I did get the measurements right for both the pipes, but these are two really important pipes because ethanol will get here, even though I'll be using good fuel. These are the hoses that are going to need changing every so often, just for safety. Yeah, so I am going to get some hose clamps on. Where are my hose clamps? Well, just put one here. Yeah, well, it would help if I've got it actually open. Right, so I've got the top line into position. Excuse the lack of brightness, guys, it's getting a bit dark now. So I've clamped that one into place, that one using the bigger hose clamps, and the small ones I've just managed to fit, and just see if we can fit that there. It's gone straight in. Right, so we can just clip that back in the line. There we go. So make sure it's, now obviously I can push this backwards and forwards because yeah, I can just do a bit of that because there's nothing obviously clamping it. So that's what you want, but just make sure that the line isn't too stretched nor too loose. You want it sort of, you want it sitting where it likes to sit, put it that way, naturally. But try not get your clamps, well, I'm trying to get my clamps away from each other. They are held in by this bracket here and this bracket there, so it's looking rather decent, and these two are not clashing, and these two are nice and tight. You must do them nice and tight, guys. This is the most appropriate way of plumbing a car up with a carburettor with a mechanical fuel pump, which is a low pressure system. Okay, it's a low pressure system, and there shouldn't be any issues. Just tighten these up and we are done down here, and we can be safe to sure that we have got decent rubber to stop this car catching flames, because fuel tank and all that. There we go. Nice and tight until it starts doing that. And when you know it's doing that, your screwdriver's jumping off, and you've got it just tight enough. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Great. Come out. Try not to show my address on the other side. Got more of these that I had delivered, and we're going to put them in the engine bay to finish this video. You can see some of my work, guys. As I say, it's looking a heck of a lot better under the bonnet. Lovely. Oh gosh, I forgot what it, you know, it's been a few days since I've looked at this, and it just smacks in my face of how good it looks. What I have done, guys, is I've put another, since I cut the camera in the last episode, we put the Dizzy Cat back on. We put all the leads through this tie, and I've just put them in the various spare spark plug holes. I have cleaned these wires and they look absolutely amazing, don't they, guys? I've put the King lead back on, and I have confirmed that those wires are in the place where they actually fit. I'm not sure why the green cables are a negative and the black is a positive. That has really confused me. Somebody will probably know more than I do. I have put the wheelbase back in. I have painted that up really nicely, and it's looking fantastic there. I have put the battery connections on. Believe it or not, guys, I think that Lion battery is not as bad as what first thought. I think that battery desperately needed a smart charge, and I've got a feeling if I hook that Lion battery up, it will start the car when we come to start it very, very soon. I have got that suspicion. I really do. But it's all looking so nice here. Oh, yes. This is what you get for hard work, guys, eventually. And the rocker cover will be while the next thing's to go back on, along with plugging all this back in. We've got to put the bracket back on for the carb and everything. I have put a few lines in. I've put the wire, the line from the kick down, the vacuum line from the kick, the throttle kicker, which goes to the throttle kick itself, and I've just put a clamp on because I wasn't quite happy with the way this line was starting to slide off very easily. There's a few other things I've put on, but I will go through that in the next episode. This line, however, is what I've previously cut. It is a weird line. It sort of goes up and down. I had to do a lot of fiddling to get it on, but we got to take it off because I've got to actually get a hose clamp on. Why does this need a hose clamp? It's so tight. Grief. How did I get this on? Oh. No, I've got to get a hose clamp on this at some stage. Yeah. I've got a feeling that I haven't got the most appropriate hose clamps. No, I think they're the wrong size, but we'll have a go. Come on, get off. I only put this on a few days ago. Everything seizes when it wants to be. I mean, to be fair, it's a very tight fit. There we go. Right. Oh, dear me. Yeah, I've got a feeling that I've got no hose clamps that are that size. Obviously, we've got the hose clamps down there, so they're good. But we need one on that side as well. So yeah, we're going to need a couple of hose clamps. I think we're going to have to order some bigger sizes. Actually, I don't think I can put the small sizes on here. Oh well, I've got plenty for the collection, but I seriously can't imagine that being yeah, this is when you know your hose clamp isn't good enough. You've had to take it all the way out and it's still not gone in. So unfortunately, yeah, I'll pull that out, and right, that's going to be added to the list because we need 1 there, 2 there, 3 there. So I'll leave that be, but you can see the improvements under the bonnet, guys. To be honest, now I've not done that, I'll go through just a couple of things that I've done. I've stuck the anti-cut-off solenoid wiring back on. I've stuck another vacuum pipe back on to the what was a carb trap. That carb trap leads to here, and we're just going to plug this into the vacuum advance. I can't really see. Yep, it's right there. Oh, come on, go on, come on. It is starting to rain, so I've got to stop. Right, so there you go. That's the vacuum advance from the carb. That's it. Right, I'm going to get in because it's raining. You take care, guys. I will see you very soon. Oh, it's going to get wet. Oh, and here's a video of what I've been doing just briefly on the clay barring, and I'll leave you with that. Right, so armed with a bottle of Autoglym Magma, which will expose all the rust and iron particles on the bodywork, especially on white paint. Oh boy, this bonnet is not clean, neither is the wing. Just done it on a few panels, but that's a lot of iron contamination. That is a lot, and that's what you'll pick up on the surface. This is why clay barring has to be done before polishing, otherwise you're just going to be polishing grit and contaminants, and you will create swirl marks. On this sort of paint, you can get away with it. You cannot get away with it on something like this, even silver. Oh my goodness me, that has really gone. There's some really bad contamination. What I have noticed is the person who did the filling job, because you can see the filler on the end, so clearly there was something there, maybe a bit of rust as usual. They do go in these corners, but it hasn't come through again, which is good. But they've oversprayed the panel again like they've done on the boot. Absolutely horrendous. So that's going to have to be polished right back down to get rid of all that. Why have they done it? Why? There's nothing wrong with that panel. It's that they've just sprayed stupid amounts. They've done it here as well. I'm going to go right back and try and take as much paint back as possible to the actual filler, because it doesn't need to be like that. But yeah, now I've tried a few experiments over the years, and with Project Beatrix, if you've watched those videos, I did the wet sanding and it went to perfection, although I dare say I went a bit too much in some areas. Project Ruby, I'm doing things differently. We're going to try and we're not going to wet sanding unless I feel it's necessary. It is simply the first stage. I'm going to do it panel by panel on a decent day. So it will be, I'm doing it in the evening after work as usual. So I've sprayed this wing, the bonnet and that wing, and we're just going to clay bar them. Okay, we're just going to get a gentle wash. Then we spray the magma on the surface. Then we use the magma and the water on the surface. It needs a bit more water now to act as a lubricant for the clay bar. I've got to say, I've got that down there. Don't worry, it's in the packet. It hasn't touched the floor, I can assure you. If your clay bar drops on the floor, you bin it. You don't need a massive amount of clay bar, and you literally just rub it over, because now that's nice and smooth. Before it was like grit. It looked good, but it wasn't. And if you want to polish a car to an absolute T, you're going to have to do it this way. So yeah, Jesus, it's even decontaminating all the rust on the cover, all the iron particles. Brilliant. I think you can safely say I got carried away. Oh boy, is that smooth. I haven't even polished it yet. Oh my goodness me, this is cleaned up well as well. Look at that. I've got a gem. Apart from that, I'll deal with that. Not one ding, not one little pin dent. Just needs a bit of polish.